It's the Kink Consultant Podcast, where we're turning up the heat on all things kink and dating, relationships, and pop culture. So close the door, plug in your headphones, and let's get down to it. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Kink Consultant Podcast. I am here this week with Pepper Cat, who I had the pleasure of being on her podcast first, and I am super excited. We had such a fun conversation. I was like, we really need to do this the other way. So thank you for joining, Pepper.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Well, after our first conversation, I was like, well, let's keep this going. And our episode already came out, right?
It did.
So Pepper, you are a content creator / pro, and people can find you. I want to get this at the top of the episode because I love this name at designyourdreamgirl.com, right?
Yes.
What an appealing name. Like sometimes people say to me, oh, the Kink Consultant, great name. When and now I get it, because when I heard Design Your Dream Girl, I was like, the fuck, tell me everything. So can you tell me a little bit more about it? Because you have a lot of offerings there.
Yeah. So basically, I wanted to start a customized fantasy experience for my customers. So it basically involves packages. If somebody wants a video chat package or a custom fantasy package or a messaging all in one. And it's basically a safe place for you to explore your desires and not feel ashamed of your sexuality and ashamed for having fantasies. And yeah, it's my personal brand and people love it so far. That's basically where the name came from. It's just a customized adult naughty experience with my fans.
I love that because it just automatically gives permission out the gate. It's like permission to tell me what you want, and we'll see if we could make it work. Do you have like a niche, that people come find you for more than other things?
Yeah, so I actually have a film background, so I do a lot of visual erotica. It's basically storytelling, solo shows, but I also incorporate like sound effects and music and different types of content that you wouldn't normally see in adult content. And it basically is like mini films, like chronicle episodes of different kinks. But I mainly do vanilla. A little bit of breed play is another one that I do. A lot of submissive work. I do a couple of domination, but not much. But yeah, So that's basically what I do in terms of content.
It sounds highly curated if you're paying attention to the music and I guess the lighting and the visuals of it, as opposed to just like, this is the moment that I'm capturing. It sounds like there's a lot, it's layered then. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say replay content, what is that?
Replay content is basically the fantasy of getting pregnant or the fantasy of the process of it. So sex without a condom, the feeling of, if I can be graphic on here.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Please be as graphic. This is my place for graphic information. So please be as graphic as you can be, because it's not Instagram. It's not TikTok. I want it real.
Right. So it's basically the feeling of like shooting inside of you. So when I do the content, a lot of times some people are technical, like they want me to say, oh, the penis inside of the vagina and give me sperm. But then some are more like, oh, breed me or get me pregnant. And what's funny is that the content recently got more popular. So adult content always shows trends in society. And so my content got popular when Elon Musk started talking about the population. And since there's been a lot of conversation around the population and pregnancy, I've seen my content get more popular. And so that's really interesting with just like doing this content and seeing what certain types of content gets popular based on what's happening in real life. So,
okay,
that's the trend right now.
That's fucking terrifying. I did
Isn't
not
it
know
interesting?
where we were going to go today, but we're going right here, Pepper. Okay,
Yeah.
because that's terrifying for a couple of reasons. Overall, we know that in the US, there's been more of a move towards young men becoming religious because they're grasping for control and they're choosing religions where men are typically more in control. That's why the Catholic religion is booming right now because, women can't
Mhm.
even be in charge, right? It is equally interesting it's equal parts interesting and terrifying that a kink that I would say I have, and anyone who's listened to the podcast knows that intimately that I have a breeding kink, but to know that that is what is really surging right now in the same way that like cuckolding also blew
Mhm.
up when
Yeah.
people were calling everyone cucks in a political sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And now
Mhm.
this is a whole other side, which, breeding kink is the ultimate fantasy because what costs more than children? Like it's a fantasy because you have to be fucking rich to have kids. So I'm just like,
Right.
oh, easy for Elon Musk to talk about how we're having a population crisis. Yeah, we're having a childcare crisis. We're having a survival
Mhm.
crisis, like a health insurance crisis, all of the things. And it is fascinating that the breeding kink is kicking off right now. So like it
Mhm.
might just be that Pepper Cat's saying it first. That's the next big kink of 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, like you're a professional in the space and you're just calling out a trend that you were
Mhm.
noticing right now.
Yeah.
Is it more talk based when you're talking about it? Or like when you make this content, what do you lean in on?
Yeah, it's more of the verbal or like the
Hmm.
more of the process, like, oh, hey, babe, can we not use a condom today? And, can you get me pregnant? And just like different scenarios that won't really come true, but people may have, like the naughty neighbor that gets breeded by such and such, or the pizza guy who comes over
Love.
and breeds me. So like I always do like a POV of that, and then like the verbal in terms of me getting pregnant and filling me up and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really hot. And you sound so sweet saying it. And I imagine that your approach is really gentle and sweet too.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
design your dream girl. Dream girl it can be super sweet and nice. And I think for a
Mhm.
lot of people it is, which is once again why I'm obsessed with your name. I think it's solid.
Thank you.
How long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing this full time for almost 3 years, but a total of four because so I was a news producer for about 3 years, and then I did it part time, like live camming on the side while I was producing, and then I quit my job. I People don't know that a lot of news producers like make minimum wage. Like it's like we can't even afford groceries and rent. And then we also do a lot of work on top of that. And so it just became a really stressful environment, and I wanted to be more creative and also get paid more and travel. And so then I just quit and I said, "Hey, this is going to be my route." And now I incorporate my background in film and journalism with my podcast too. And I do what I want, and I can still be creative but also earn more. So that's how I got into it.
Yeah,
I
and
know that's a long answer.
you're expanding into a lot of different mediums, like including the podcast, Spicy Spectrum. So you're really expanding and quickly too. We didn't actually talk about your work in journalism. I was never a journalist. I wasn't working in that field, but except I was training customer service globally for the Wall Street Journal
Oh,
way back in
nice.
the
Very
day.
cool.
Right. And then in order to make ends meet, because I couldn't afford to pay my rent on that, I was a dominatrix in the evenings. I was like moonlighting as one, right?
Mhm,
What is the news media to any type of sex
mhm.
work pipeline of like, it's hard to make it in journalism or that world. They're not paying. And this is a
Mhm.
good way to supplement it until you realize
Yeah.
this is the fun job
Mhm.
with better
Yeah.
pay.
No, yeah. So there's actually, which I'm not gonna say too much, but a lot of people who work in journalism actually do some sort of sex work on the side, which I feel like a lot of women or just people in general may have some like side thing, like, with like phone sex or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even when I was there were people who were also doing what I do, but then like they didn't do it like full time or anything. But I found that it was quite easy because a lot of the things I do now is what I did in news. I pre-post content, I put it on a schedule, I produce, I write scripts. It's the same thing. It's just more raunchy, obviously. But I mean, it's the same process of producing content and doing content plans and
Yeah, so like
yeah,
same skill set, different job, which is quite
it really
common.
is.
In fact, that you've just unlocked a memory of back when I was doming. I was at a dungeon in New York City, and one day a woman came in and she'd just gotten a job there at the dungeon. And the next day I noticed her on the same floor as me at work. She was a journalist, and I was so freaking nervous
That's
that
crazy.
I called the owner of the dungeon to be like, look, I work here at the Wall Street Journal. That's a journalist you've employed. So they just called her and told her never to come back because I'd been there a year. It was obvious I was not a journalist and trying to, like, I really worked
Right.
there. So they fired her. But like, now you're making me think, was she there to just actually make money? And I got this girl fired, but I was so nervous she was writing a story. But more than that, I think she really was writing a story because this woman had zero actual interest in doing the job. And that was obvious too. So like, but
That's
it's funny that you
hilarious.
said that. I'm like, oh, I may have like blocked some woman's money making side hustle, but it is what
Who
it is
knows?
now. I'm sorry, Angela, if you really wanted to be a dom. But then a year later, an article came out in the New York Post describing what it was like to work at that dungeon. And I just couldn't help but feel that woman may have written the article, even though it wasn't her name on the byline. I'm like, how many
Probably.
reporters for a News Corp company are actually working at this one dungeon? Probably
Right.
just her. And she sat on the story until 50 Shades of Grey came out. And then she wrote like what it was like to work in a New York dungeon, despite only being there for 48 hours, like before getting fired. Anyway,
That's
that's
actually crazy.
really funny. So that we're talking 12 years ago. That's when that was for me. I think what's interesting is it's so much easier now with OnlyFans, loyal fans. There are so many more opportunities to work in this space than there were back in the day.
I mean, there are so many options. Like I do phone sex, content creation, and I also do like OnlyFans, and then I do indie clip sites. I mean, there's just so many things online that you can take advantage of. I just do it all. And it does make things easy where I can be at home and not have to leave my house to make money and make it in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that stuff existed back in the day. I wonder if I would have been more or less likely to engage in it. Being a dominatrix was so, the moment existed just in that moment. So there was no recordings of what I was doing. There's no digital footprint except me talking about it openly now. So there would have been more risk with my job, maybe, if there was a chance of people seeing it. But
Right.
I do think it's a catch-22 of it's accessible to more people, but also the impact is greater and you have a higher chance of getting caught, maybe by a job that could fire you for being on it. I have never done phone sex, like where just, is it like a random person calls you? It's so funny. I've been a dom. I know how to do dirty talk. I know how to do dommy sex stuff in that realm, but like I had a chance to talk to people and be like, hey, what kind of scene do you want? Like, let's talk about it. How do you navigate phone sex? Like beginning to end, I want to know everything.
Yes, so phone sex is still popular. I get college kids, I get all types of people calling. But basically, we have our own lines and we have like a sexy recording. It's about 15 to 30 seconds while the person is trying to choose the woman that he wants in the certain category. And then he'll call and then I'll get notified, and we basically get paid by minute. So typically, I mean, it can range from $1 to $5 per minute, and people just call. They'll call for a quickie, or somebody may just want to stay on the phone for like an hour and just rant about work or problems in their lives. We just sit there and get paid to
Damn.
listen.
I love that.
It's pretty crazy.
Are you like ever edging people on the call to be like, let me get a full hour out of this person?
Oh yeah, I like always stretch it like, hey, how are you? What did you do today? And so I just, build it up. I don't just jump into like the sexual pleasure.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some people will like be in their closets or something, or like close to their spouses on the phone. Like it's just like really crazy just to see the length people will go to like get off and how they do it, and them just being bold and naughty on the phone.
I
So-
know, right? It's such a mix of, it's like, is this the only time and place you can fit this in? And that's why you're talking to me right
Right.
now, versus are you just trying to push boundaries and that's why you're in bed next to your spouse right now? Like which part of that is true?
Right. I feel like they get off on it too, like the ones who do it next to their spouse. Like, almost like they can get away with it or something. And like I'll like hear the wife in the background like snoring or making noise or any,
Oh
it's
my
like it's
gosh.
crazy.
That sounds crazy. I mean, but
It
also
is insane.
fascinating, right? And it's not stuff that I don't know because honestly, when people would come into sessions, they would talk to me a lot about their spouse, right? So I think the spouse can sort of represent the lack of freedom. And then it's fun to bring that in, just like, what a fuck you to do that in bed next to someone who it's like a you don't have as much control over me as you think thing. I don't
Right.
know, psychology conversation for another day, maybe. But I know a lot of my listeners like to know these things. Do you have any really crazy phone sex stories of like the most random thing you've been asked or even the most mundane thing that you couldn't believe someone was paying you to talk about?
Oh my God, it's been so much. Like the first time I started, I think it was the first week I got traumatized. I mean, I don't know how much you want to hear.
Everything.
So my very first call was this guy, and he like took his wife's panties and took a poop, and so he
Sorry,
basically
time out, time out. I want to get this right. You're dropping this nonchalantly. He took his wife's panties, and then he pooped. Did he poop in the toilet, or is the poop going to come back at a later part of this story? In her panties. Okay.
in her panties. It was kind of like it was like a mommy role play, like, oh, like mommy, I went pooey in my panties, and he was crying, and I felt bad because I'm a really nice person, but he wanted me to degrade him and call him names and like shame him because he just got off on it, and I
Yeah.
made him cry, and I felt so sad at the end and really shocked too.
Good for you, though. That's
And-
impressive. Do you remember what you said to make him cry that like pushed him over the edge?
I think I told him he was pathetic for having to pay me to poop in his wife's panties.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was so mean. But yeah, like I had made him cry, and then he got off and hung up. It
Wow.
was really crazy. And then there were some other things too, but
That's-
yeah, like that was the most crazy.
So crazy because some people love to be shamed for that specific thing. Also, people who listen to the podcast know, I've even said this on multiple podcasts, like others as well. I can't engage with poop at all. It is such a limit for me because I'm grossed out by it. Like I've joked, I don't even like that I poop. I don't like talking about it. Someone having to have a conversation about somebody else's, I'm like, no, thank you. But I love that you had that experience because I would never be able to have that experience. I'd be like, you need to talk to somebody else.
That was like one of my very first calls.
Damn. Wow. You
It
were thrown in
definitely
the
shocked
deep end.
me. I was like, this is crazy because you don't know the secret lives that people have or the secret fantasies. And everyone looks so normal. But I'm like, sure, you know this too. Then like you look at the world like, wow, like people have so many fantasies that you don't always know. They could look totally normal and just be
And
into
they're
some
pooping
kinky
in their
stuff.
wife's panties at night. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know. And there's zero shame in it. It's just, it's what's interesting about it is, as everyone knows, I say not all kink comes from trauma, but some of it does. And something as specific as what you just described tells me something happened when he was younger that led him to feel like this. Is also why I really enjoyed being a dom, because that's what I'm saying. You just had to jump in and roll with the punches of what it was. Whereas I would be, when I would have my meet session where we were talking out how the scene was going to go, I would be able to ask questions like, did this happen to you as a child? You know, I would have time to get into the intricacies of how they possibly got here. That was part of the fulfilling work for me. So it's kind of hard. Like, of course you were traumatized. You had no time to process.
Yeah, it's true. Like it just happened. I mean, sometimes I'll ask people, like people who have really taboo fantasies
yeah.
that are socially unacceptable. I'll ask out of curiosity, like, hey, you know what? How did you get into, for example, incest fantasies?
yeah.
And they'll tell me the truth. That's like, it can be dark too. And it's like, I guess that's the dark side too, is what you said, is that like trauma and how some people have kinks based on their past. And that's how they process. That's just how they process it.
And a lot of people do process that way. I'm a mixed bag of like some of my spanking fetish born this way, not something that happened that caused it. Other kinks, maybe some humiliation stuff, don't love it, but I can definitely trace it back to like, oh, I know why I feel this way about it. you know? Ever get one that actually turns you on? Have you ever gotten a call where you're like, wait, this is totally my jam?
That usually happens like on cam calls, which is like the same thing. It's just on camera. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, like if the person is attractive or, it's somebody who's easy on the eye, it makes it easier for me to get turned on by doing something on camera.
Yeah.
Just naturally.
Biological. Yes.
Yeah. Or like their voice may be attractive. There's just chemistry. I mean, sometimes certain customers, you have more chemistry just naturally.
Just like in life.
Yeah. And so like that's how I typically get turned on by that. Or like if it's like masturbation or something where I'm actually having an orgasm, then
well, yeah. No brain. Right?
Yeah.
I think you make a good point that I don't want to gloss over. There are all types of men. There are young men, old men, like hot guys who you would think, oh, they don't need to do this, but they're doing it, right? And I think that really bucks with everyone's perception of what sex work is or what phone sex is. They think, oh, this is just for people who can't get it on their own. And it's like, no, there are people who enjoy this and you'd probably think they don't need it. And that is also the point. They don't. They choose it.
Yeah, I mean, also there's well-known, I'm not going to share, but like I've encountered well-known people who can get anyone and they choose to cam with me. It's just because it's such a unique experience to have your fantasies played out. It just shows you that we're all human and horny. So
absolutely.
At the end of the day, attractive, rich, poor,
There are all walks of life are interested in these things. And it's crazy that we even try to pretend they're not, like it's sort of like, oh, this type of stuff is just for certain weird people. And that's the biggest lie because it's for everyone and everyone is availing of it. Maybe not like 100% of the population, but way more than you think.
Oh yeah. And like, I mean, it's like normal people too. Like it's your teachers, it's your neighbors.
Oh yeah. Like
pastors, like it's everyone.
Your pastors. I know it's true. I think people like to think, oh, no one I know would do that, right? But it's like, no, actually everybody you know is doing it. Like, statistically speaking, way more chance of that.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'll think back into college because I cam with guys in college. And so now I'm thinking back when I was in college and I'm like, oh, my friends were probably on cam lines. I don't know, camming with some women in their dorms or something. It just makes me rethink life and how people probably had a secret life that now I know.
Oh, absolutely. I also like to play the game of like, what's their kink? What's their fetish? What's their interest? Because it's like, my thing is, you have no idea. I think I will stand on this for life. Way more men are wearing women's lingerie than you even think. So if you work in an office, if you're at the hospital, the doctor, a man you've seen today is wearing women's panties.
That's so true.
Right? Thank you.
That is so true. They love it.
Yeah. And I get a lot of
funny.
I get a lot of women who call me for consultations and they'll tell me like my husband is a cross-dresser. And, when I dig in a little bit, it's that they enjoy wearing women's panties. And I'm not going to categorize someone as a cross-dresser or not. Like that is not my job. It's like how they identify and what they want to call themselves. But my point is, part of my job, I feel, is to normalize this for the women. And I'm like, I know that can be very jarring or very shocking. I really want you to understand that this is much more common than you think. And then understanding that this is not this out there thing that nobody else is doing and that their husbands are not quote unquote freaks or weirdos or perverts does help a little bit. But that's why it's important to get that message out there. A man you've seen today is likely wearing panties under whatever his clothes are.
It's true. Or a dildo or some vibrating thing in their ass or something, you know, someone's probably trying to control it.
Something is inserted somewhere. Yeah.
You just never know.
For women too. In fact, go to a nice restaurant and just know that someone in that restaurant is having the time of their lives and it has nothing to do with the food.
Yeah, and I mean, I've even done it with my partners and had vibrating panties at dinner and, had him push the button, know?
I know. And
everyone's a freak. So.
The only note there is if you have something vibrating inside of you, don't sit in the booth side, sit on the chair side because other people could feel that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no shame in that game. It's kind of fun. It's sort of that go to the bathroom, take off your panties and bring them back to me thing, but it's a level up from that because you got dressed at home or, you go to the bathroom and put it in and then come
Right.
sexy.
Yeah.
So as you think about your business now, like obviously you've been in it for a while. Has it grown in a direction you weren't anticipating? And do you have plans to grow it in the future in a different direction than where you are now?
I plan to be consistent, for example, with my podcast, which has helped with my sex work in a way. It's kind of like I don't know, people just like to listen to my voice, and I've just found a way to be authentic and show different sides of myself on camera or through my voice. But yeah, I didn't expect to make Design Your Dream Girl or expand my brand and just lean more into the business side of it, but that's where I ended up, and I'm glad I can add my background in TV into what I do in media and still do what I studied in school at the end of the day. Hopefully I can eventually, with Design Your Dream Girl, be in the background and turn it into an actual website to have people join and work on and kind of be behind the scenes in the future.
You want to be the behind the scenes. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So the content is still being created, not all by you, but by other people. Well, you've got a solid name, so that's a great start.
Yeah.
And then I also think it's funny, I think when people talk to creators like us, even though we create differently, right? I didn't have a plan coming into this. Like I was building a social media following and people were asking me like, well, what are you going to do with this? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, but like, let's start here and go from there. And it sounds like your journey's been a little bit the same. You were like, okay, let's start putting this stuff out there, get paid. And now it's almost like you're forced to turn it into a real brand because you are, in the most positive way, a victim of your own success. You're like, oh shit, this is getting big now. I've got to start categorizing, organizing, building.
No, yeah, I definitely had to find my brand and what works for me and just take it seriously, especially because people think that content creation, whether it's naughty or not, everyone thinks it's easy, and it's not.
I
It's a lot of work.
I obsess over what's my hook. Am I energetic throughout? Do I sound flat anywhere? Do you have those moments too? Because your content's a little bit, it's going to be longer than mine.
It's like 30 plus minutes on camera talking to myself. So I actually do like voice exercises and everything. I mean, I just take it seriously. But yeah, same, I always critique myself.
I think that taking it seriously is half the battle. If you take yourself seriously, you're going to put out a higher performing content because you're holding yourself to some type of standard. But also it's so interesting. I didn't even think about doing vocal exercises. I just think, how do I sound as excited as possible for a 3-minute video?
Right.
I do not know how you do it. By the way, I just want to call out, like, I understand we do different content. I'm talking about educational Instagram videos. You were talking about sexy content do you do customs or are you doing a mix of, is this all customs or is some of it for the more general public on OnlyFans? As teasers?
For the majority, they're videos for the public, but I do customs. If someone like buys a video and then they want me to make some weird video or something for them, I'm taking a lot of weird requests for those too.
Oh my gosh. Do you ever do episodes where you just talk about all the weird requests you get?
No, but I should. That's a good idea.
Oh, please. Yeah,
I don't know why I
please do
haven't done
this.
that yet.
The work I do is coaching. So there's like a confidentiality about it, but your work is so general and a lot of people might have the same interests. So
Exactly.
It's normalizing to know like, oh, I'm not the only one wearing women's panties.
Right.
But that takes me back to like, is it normalizing to know that other people are pooping in their wives' panties, which I don't condone because it's not totally consensual, Like,
yeah. And then like the fluid, you may get like an infection because the vagina is sensitive.
So I know. And not to get too stupidly technical, but my nicest panties, I'm not washing on a hot wash because they're my nice panties that I don't want to
Right.
mess up.
Right.
They're going through a cold wash. They're getting hung dry, like not going in my dryer. You made a good point. Okay. Yeah. And it's not to shame people's kinks, obviously. It's more just like when you're doing things like this, it matters to, go buy your own panties. There's no shame in that game either. Yeah.
That is true.
Play pretend. Because now I'm thinking about like some of my favorite panties that have gone missing. And I'm like, Did a
You
man
never
pocket
know.
those after a night out? Like, I also hear so many stories about men taking panties, so there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now that I've been doing this, there are just certain things I just don't do. I don't trust men around my panties when I'm not home, or like anyone for the matter, but especially men. I don't like sit on everyone's couches because I've seen people like fuck a couch. It's just like things that you just see that changes your
Perspective.
perception of what you do.
I hadn't even thought about that.
And the panties is a big one.
It's really funny you say that because, well, first of all, my house is not clean right now. So not dirty, but it's just like my clothes are everywhere. All of my clean laundry is in a laundry basket that has not been put away. But I just had an exterminator here today. I trust him fully, right? But I was like, I met him. I showed him the house and I said, I actually have to go work right now. I'm seeing a client. So just like do your thing and see yourself out. And I'm like, I don't fucking know if he was in my panties or not. I mean, he definitely,
You never know.
no, you don't. And that's kind of like, that's part of the spice of life, the spice
I guess
spectrum.
it's true. I mean, it's just things that just I'm not condoning it. It's just things, things just happen. That's not harmful or anything, but like, things happen where people just
I think if a camera followed me around 24/7, I'd definitely be judged about stuff like that. I'm not even going to tell you how long that clean laundry has been in that basket, but we're
Right.
talking weeks. I've been living out of the basket. And then like there's the other end of that where it's like, oh, someone's fucking their couch, where
Yeah. Or fucking a spatula, or just a lot of things, yeah, that you see, and it's common too. But yeah, I just have like a whole different mindset, I guess.
After working at the dungeon, I definitely developed a different mindset. Now working with couples as a coach, it's an amazing experience to be able to get to talk to both people in the relationship, talking to them separately, bringing them together. Getting both sides of the story is such a mind fuck experience because I understand where the men are coming from. I understand where the women are coming from because they're learning these things that to them are so foreign.
Right.
But to me, it's quite common, right? And then to help them bridge the gap and like find the common ground where they can both explore what they're interested in together. It is so different from when I was a dom because I only got one side of the story. So now I'm completing the picture. But like to your point about all of these things, it's not really harmful as long as it's consensual, but you could be sleeping in the same bed as someone for 20 years and still not know. And that's what really messes with my brain.
That's the crazy part
Yeah.
too. I agree. Like people live double lives and they get away with it too, and they
People
tell us
live
everything.
triple lives. Like,
Triple lives, yeah.
and they
It's
do tell us
crazy.
everything. I know it's such a privilege, but it also
is.
it is, but it changes the way you think about things too, because you no longer have the luxury of pretending this stuff isn't out there, and it does changes how I view relationships. It changes how I date. It changes my trust level at times.
Me too.
Yeah.
I agree. It's like the fantasy is gone, and then you just see life for what it is, which is a blessing and a curse, I guess, too.
It is in part because we are meeting people from all walks of life, right? Sometimes I go between, oh, well, if they're coming to talk to me as when I was a dominatrix or the work I do now, there's already a quote unquote problem or they're not having their needs met. But the truth is, if they're going to you and they're from all walks of life, it doesn't even imply there's any issue that they want to work through. It's literally just they want to have this experience. And that's the point.
Right.
So many people want to have these different experiences, but we're not talking about it openly.
Yeah.
So that leads to people needing to live the double lives or the triple lives. Yeah, because there's a lot of stigma.
I agree.
So Peppercat, I love your website. It is beautiful. I highly recommend everybody goes to designyourdreamgirl.com. And when you go there, Pepper, you are selling a very interesting item on there. Tell everyone, what are you selling, Pepper?
Yeah, so I am selling my bath water. It's not made for consumption though. It's just something that you can keep, you can just keep for yourself, that it reminds you of me and my scent and what I smell like. Because people like to buy bath water from us, and that's one of the items that I sell. And
I have a
can make a
question.
special video.
I have like 1,000 questions actually. Number one, for legal purposes, when you talk about it, do you have to say it's not for consumption?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
I do.
So when you said it, I was like, wait, what? Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, you'll be surprised what people do with.
Now that we have the legal side out of the way, are you really bathing in this water?
I am. And I'll actually show the video too. Whoever purchases it will see me bathing and just submerging myself and scooping it out and giving you a sample for you to keep and smell.
And smell. Okay, great. They can open the jar or whatever it comes in. Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. How many baths are you taking a week to keep up with demand?
I take one, but I like take showers, obviously, not just one bath, but yeah. And
I bet you'd make more money if it was your one bath a week if you were like, this is
I'm
the
sure.
most potent bath water.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I limit the sales to 10 per month, so I won't have to like waste like the water bill and like have to take baths over and over again.
Well, you got to keep supply low to keep demand high. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but I think I'm onto something if you don't shower for a week and then you're like, this is the bath water of my entire week. I remember that from when I worked at the dungeon, there was an etiquette book of how we were supposed to act. And one of the things was like, clients like clean, well-kept girls. And I was reading this out and everyone burst out laughing because it's like, absolutely not. They want to smell you. They want to know. They want crusty you. They want like the most real version of you.
That's why they like the dirty panties.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can wear panties for like 4 days and sell them. And yeah, they want the natural.
I've never sold panties. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you get feedback? Do people like contact you to say things about it?
Oh, yeah. They'll call me on the phone like, I'm smelling your panties. Yeah, they'll like sniff it on the phone. And I can hear them sniffing it. And then they'll do other things with the panties and they'll want me to tell them what to do and where to come.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that being a lot of fun. I know. I need you to start collecting your stories. Or do you ever think you might write a book or?
Yeah, I think eventually I'll write a book. I'm not sure if I'll be like just like not have my name out there or just be general. But oh yeah, I'm definitely going to write a book because it's such a unique experience.
Oh, absolutely.
That not everyone has.
It's fascinating. Even as someone who worked in the space, hearing your stories are fascinating because we all have these different experiences. And I wasn't a phone sex girl. I've never done cam work. And just learning that experience, as similar as they are, our experiences are also very different.
Yeah, it is.
Anyone who wants to check out Pepper Cat, go to designyourdreamgirl.com and check out her podcast, Spicy Spectrum. It has been such a pleasure having you on. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone who might find it interesting. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out. Email info@thekinkconsultant.com. Until next time, keep on kinking on.